I'm just trying to sort of entertain myself and do the things that turn me on privately. That's my approach, because I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what has touched me most, artists, when they kind of like get completely selfish and kind of like go for it in their own bedroom kind of vibe, you know? I like that. The debut is very nostalgic. It's like an old photo album for me. Because it's my first opportunity to put out an album with lots of money involved. I kind of picked the greatest hit of my songwriting last 10 years or so. Next album will probably be more looking ahead, more present.
So this album has so many different styles on it. Your new album post, you have some big band stuff on it. Where did the inspiration for all the big band sounds like of the 30s? Were you listening to albums like that, or what were you doing?
Well, basically, I think all people are very different inside, and they've got all these different sides to them, like a silly side, a clever side, a sad side, a painful side, a happy side. And musical styles shouldn't be taken too literally. They're just like something to make these moments, the emotions, bigger, you know? And that's how I look at it. So I've always been very determined that my albums have got all the emotional scale on them, and whatever it takes to make that.
I guess the biggest difference between debut and post is that debut was all songs I wrote over a 10-year period, all in my house in Iceland after my son had gone to bed. So they were quite private and intimate, like little experiments, and more like a diary thing, you know, something in order to keep you sane. Post is quite brave, because it's the girl who left home and is trying out all these brand new things she's never tried before, and tasting all those cities and meeting all these lunatics, and best of all, meeting all the lunatics like herself, you know, because there aren't that many back in Iceland. And communicating with all them and figuring out there are more people out there who feel like her. And it's just, it's definitely like a brave album, but at the same time kind of scary. Electricity and equipment are just tools. Instead of wood or leather or metal and all these things that we so far made music out of, stroking a string, we're using electricity and to make for the ear. For me, that is probably what I would call techno. I find it so amazing when people tell me that electronic music has not got soul, and they blame the computers. They got the finger and point at the computer. It's like, there's no soul here. It's like, you can't blame the computer. If there's not soul in the music, it's because nobody put it there. And it's not the tool's fault. I used to work quite a lot with QI-20. That's a different machine, but same size. And you have 8 tracks and 100 noises. And you can make as many songs as you want. And a lot of my tunes for the last 4 years I wrote on that. It's so incredibly convenient. Put the batteries in and you can take it. You can write on the airplane or your grand's house on the top of a volcano, or in a club, or in a tube. But this is a different machine. This is like a sampler. Mark Bell bought this one, and he's just teaching me it.
It was just a way of capturing like noises, like say acoustic instruments or other noises, but then being able to change the pitch of them, like to make them any noise into like music. Then like it could be a door shutting for a drum sound.
What I'd love to do live is kind of put a lot of effects on my voice. These are the things that I own, that I usually have in my house, where I do all the demos. So we set this up and brought this down to Spain. When I did debut and post, they were very much like greatest hits of my musical passions for all my life. And I knew it would take 2 albums to do that. That's why I call them debut and post, before and after, of getting rid of the back catalogue almost, you know, gracefully, you know, because you can only move on if you do that, you know. So this is like a fresh start for me. And that's why I want to call this album homogenic or genus or genius or whatever. I'm still working on that because it's one flavor. It's just me now, you know, here. And it's going to be, instead of like all these different instruments, it's just going to be beats, strings, and voice. Most of my work I do in my head, just when I'm doing other things. And I don't know, it's because I've been doing it for long, or because I spent so many years without recording my songs. I wasn't until 27 I started recording them. That I naturally become quite organized in my head, and I got all these different sections and little cupboards and drawers. And I started that idea and I put it in a drawer, and I can come back to it a year later and it will still be there. So I walk in a room and it looks like I'm starting a song, but it's actually, in a way, I've maybe been working on it for a year.
Var þetta ekki miklu betra?
Miklu, já. Við getum farið ennþá lengra.
Okay.
Þetta alveg bara svona sound of music.
Já, ok.
Þú veist, alveg bara svona væn. I write about one song a month, and it's usually just the theme of that month, like the soundtrack to that month in my life. You are in all these different moods through one week. You are grumpy, you're cheerful, you're stupid, you're delicate, you're complicated, you're moody, and of course there's a song for every occasion, you know? I think people are always scared of new things. If you want to make something happen that hasn't happened before, you've got to allow yourself to make a lot of mistakes. Then the real magic will happen. Because if you just play it really safe, you won't get any treats. You know, I basically got introduced to all music there is, I mean, in European, at least, last say 400 or 500 years. And even though I ended up deciding that majority of it was not maybe my cup of tea, at least I knew it existed. So I could, like, say, okay, I've dealt with this, you know? So I think very quickly I said, okay, you got classical music, you got pop, you got jazz, and everybody thinks their stuff is great and the rest is crap. I just really quickly loved introducing my grandparents to Jimi Hendrix stuff, or my mum to classical stuff, or bringing jazz records to school, you know. And then it just kind of came out that when I started being in bands, because I was so kind of obsessed with new things getting made, that I kind of ended up just being on the microphone. I guess it helped me that I was trying all clumsily to learn the laptop. So I was sort of doing the beats maybe on the laptop and then sort of whispering inside the mic they have on it. So it sort of started somewhere there. And then having headphones and writing a lot of it, sort of like the music box arrangements and the harp arrangements, kind of, and then kind of whispering. So yeah, it was meant to be kind of pretty introvert. For me, I believe in emotion is above all. It probably is not a very modern thing. And definitely not postmodern. Sorry, that was a very bad joke. No, I think a songwriting has to come, or music making has to come from an emotional place.